Okay, here's your jumper's run from Friday. What, you silly boy. There he goes. Woo! Yay, good boy. Nice job. Okay, so this was not a good line, and you probably already figured that out before I told you anything. You probably should have run on this side because this is where the curve is, right? And we tend to run on the inside of the curve because otherwise it's kind of awkward, and this is why. Because the dog just jumps this way as you're running the outside of the curve. Now you could have run that side, but you would have had to lead out basically to where you are now so that when you released him, you could show him that you're going to go that way, right? So you're probably trying to avoid having to do a cross, but you really needed to have a cross in there, or you needed to lead out to here, and when you release him, you could push him that way. But we get him back on track. And you do a rear there. It's kind of goofy. Let's see. Oh, well, it's goofy because you're cutting in when he's in the air. And so, and I wouldn't do that to him. So I would, if you're going to do a rear there and I don't know, maybe you couldn't tell this when you walked it. I don't know, but part of it's just because he's really green. So I would just give him more space. I wouldn't be cutting into him like that when he's trying to land, because when he took off, you were just barely starting to move, right? So he thought he was going straight, and that's what he did. And then you kind of almost ran into him there. So I would have just run out a little bit, straight, let him land, and then you can turn him using your outside arm there. I mean, it was okay. You pulled it off, but then you kind of had to push to get him to the other one, and then that's why the bar comes down. Because he came out here so far, and then he went back, but then he sees he has to go that way, and so that bar comes down. And you're kind of stuck behind that wing a little bit too, it looks like. You kind of have to eke yourself around it. So your rear cross line should have been like from the outside of this wing to the inside of the next one, but your path was more like this, and so was his. But we get him back on track. And I think he's supposed to do the weaves here, and he doesn't. And whatever. He's just a little baby. He's got a lot to figure out. But he does them that time. Now, you're trying to send him, and then he kind of goes this way, kind of goofy, and then you try to cut behind him. It's funny. I think what you did was okay. I think he was just being kind of goofy. So I wouldn't worry about it. He'll figure that stuff out. He'll figure out when you do that, it means this, and it'll be fine. And this one he didn't read very good because you're just getting too far ahead, Ingrid. So you're ahead, and now you're slowing down, and you're waiting for him to take the jump, and he takes the jump, and then you're going behind him. But he didn't know there was a turn. He's taking this perpendicular. He's even sort of looking over to the right almost, and then he has to change his lead when he lands. So if you're going to do the rears, it's fine, but don't get ahead. So here in this corner, you needed to come in and make like, come all the way in, almost like you're going to touch the jumps, so that you can let him get ahead of you. And then it'll be prettier, and he'll know what you mean, and you'll be more consistent. Good boy. He's a nice jumper.